Greetings, bloggers, vloggers, followers, and potters. Dustin here from Dustin's Dynasty with another edition of this week's vlog. As you haven't known, it is Mental Health Awareness Week, part of Mental Health Month and Awareness Month, and it's also yesterday was Mental Health Day. Mental health is something that is often intertwined with being autistic, as I am. I'm near 40, and I have been living this autism thing for nearly most of my life and I live independently for almost 7 years now. I have been, and I have a job that I've had for over 15 years, and mental health has been a principal thing that I've been fighting in my independence. So join me today as we go and we learn about, what we're dealing with our mental health and how we've had a breakthrough and seeing why our mental health matters. It's been a busy week, very understanding week, and it's also Mental Health Awareness Week. So, one of the things that I have learned is that my mental health matters. And why do I say that my mental health matters? Well, I'll tell you quite simply. It has been many years, several years, that I have since discovered and now discovered that my mental health is my first priority. It should be everyone's first priority. There is no shame in getting help. And it also understanding that progress over perfection always matters. As many may know, for the past 7 years, I have been struggling while living independently of what maintaining my mental health is like. What is understanding my mental health? What is doing my mental health? Um, what 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 allows it to be, what allows it to understand and work in a way that has previously been successful, but I could never grasp the reasons of the why and the how. Why do I take care of my mental health? Why do I be the best person that I can be? And since that year, 2017, and about a year after, I took a step and I moved out on my own. But what I didn't really realize was that I did have many tools to be independent, but one of the biggest tools that one of several tools that I didn't have was, learning how to set times for myself. And I was this frivolous young adult. I wouldn't say young, I'd say early 30s adult who thought he had the world by their ears and he could do whatever he wanted. It didn't matter what family said or anybody said. People would raise concerns and issues, and my mental health challenges would get in the way because I wasn't taking care of my mental health in the way that it should. One of the big key culprits in that, and it was a catalyst of why it was happening, was I was not adhering to my medication regimen, and as a result, that curtailed what my feelings were, what happens when I don't take my medication. I felt this energy and this rush. It was, as many know, I have bipolar, and that was a mania. And when that mania hit, it just, it was hard to stop, and it was hard to say no, and it was hard to stop without understanding the why and the how we do things, the why and the how we get behind, and take care of our mental health. And even though many people would raise concern from time to time, I couldn't see that many times I was just surviving, when really there was no reason to be thriving. No, none, there was no reason, there was more enough reason to be thriving. I could have been the example. I could have led by the example, but I didn't. And I had to ultimately pay the price because of that. And sometimes that meant a crash and a manic burnout. And it did happen. And it happened not once, but once and nearly twice because I had not made the right decisions to take care of myself in the way that I needed to. And even just taking a few days off to get back on track would have been better than just keep letting it go and keep living the way that I was living without recognizing the need to care for my mental health in the way that I needed to. When I first was diagnosed, with the many facets of mental health conditions, or as they were called, mental illnesses back then, in addition to my spectrum diagnosis in the late 90s, there was times they discovered that I had bipolar disorder, and as such, I ended up in the hospital several times in the course of one summer, 25 years ago, and I've been out of the hospital from that. But lately, there's been signs of needing to be serious about it, taking and why my mental health matters. And I think one thing that proves well is Mental Health Month. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. This week is Mental Health Awareness Week. Yesterday was Mental Health Awareness Day. Yesterday in the big city, uh, one there was a movement to talk about mental health and make it a big corporate thing and discuss it. And there's no shame and breaking the stigma. Something that I've been doing for quite some time is working at breaking the stigmas of my mental health and understanding, that there is no shame in asking for help. There is no shame in doing what you need to do, whether it's take a pill, whether it's take time, modify your routine, have a routine. But ultimately, when you're in the process of discovering what works for you, things aren't always going to go perfect. They're not going to go according to plan. Things are going to be difficult in those beginning times. It's going to be hard as time goes. As time goes on, if you're patient with yourself and you give yourself grace, it will be better. But ultimately, the one thing is you just don't you remember all the progress that you made, and when things happen, you fall down, you get back up. You don't just keep the negativity ball rolling and getting into the negative parts of your mental health treatment. I made some pretty destructive decisions over the past 2 years and in years past, and now I had to pay the price for them. And I don't want to pay that price for them anymore. I also want to be an example to those who look up to me as the person that I can be because my mental health is managed and curable. And not curable in a way, but just able to be managed. And knowing that those things are a part of my life while managing the other things in my life and taking care of the things that I need to do to stay well and be well in that process. So it's all about, taking care of ourselves, staying mentally fit, mentally well, understanding when things are too much as those mental health challenges intertwine with those being autistic challenges and knowing that, we have to be our best self and not allow things to get in our way when things, are bothersome or challenging or when are more or we're more sensitive to things than what we are normally. It's always for me one of the biggest barriers I think to getting on the right track was having that wanting that perfection, wanting it to be perfect, and not seeing the progress that I was making, and or being patient with myself and giving myself grace in that process. It was a process, and eventually I did discover it. Um, but it takes time, and sometimes you have to be patient with yourself, and you can be frustrated at things. I look at myself when I was first diagnosed over 25 years ago, and since then I put nearly just over 200 pounds right now at this point, and it was keeping going, but I wasn't doing what I needed to do to take care of my physical health either. So I took that the initiative this year and with the summer. And I'm starting to do that because it seems like the last 2 years there has been more of a push to crash and burn and not take care of both my mental health and my physical health and the complete spectrum of wellness. Mental health is just as important as physical health. It is no different when you look at it and how you do what you need to do to see that it is your best self and what you can be. And for the past 2 years, I really ignored that because I wanted things that I couldn't have or I didn't think I could have. But you know what? Eventually I discovered I could have if I actually took the time and went and did what I needed to do. And there are moments, when things don't go according to plan or that they're stressful, mindless, you know, um, eating or drinking a beverage you shouldn't have. But ultimately, sometimes, there's the signs too that you got to cut back in those things and work on the things that you have to work on because it's for health reasons, whether it's for mental health or physical health. There's no shame in t doing what you need to do to care for yourself. It's not an excuse that we're dumb or lazy as individuals with autism or mental health challenges, nor is it something, that it should be ashamed, or nor should it be a stigma. For many years, there was a stigma around mental health. I've seen it firsthand, and people like dignitaries still don't want to address the white elephant in the room. Like our congressional leaders, our senatorial leaders, our government leaders in the higher power. They don't want to address the mental health uh, crisis that we're experiencing after the pandemic. It's been a long road that we've been on, and I don't think people really see, how much the past pandemic has really been a driving force into to allowing people's mental health to decline. And I was at my worst back then. I was at my worst then too. And I couldn't see it, even though, you know, people who didn't deserve to have me act in the way that I did when we were in those lockdowns and I was with my parents at the time. They didn't deserve that. And I don't, and I will hope I never ever get in that way ever again, or in any sort of way. I know what I need to do to take care of myself, both mentally and physically. And sometimes, and I'm starting to flip the script on that. I'm starting to step away from the media as much and work more towards my own personal goals and doing things that I need to do to take care of my mental health in the process. It can be hard, it can be challenging, but I push through and I do it because I know it matters. You matter. People think, you know, mental health, asking for a sign of help is being weak, also particularly in men. And there's no shame in asking for help. If I didn't ask for help when I was at my worst, I would have been in a very precarious situation. And, there's no shame in asking for help or, struggling. Now, people know when you're struggling sometimes if they know you really well and know your patterns and they know your behaviors. And, ironically, they didn't see it, but they saw what they needed to see. And I hope I never ever get to that point in my life again where I learn and grow and be the person that I need to be from where I was to where I am today and continue to strive on to be. So with that, I'm going to thank you for listening. If you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe. Be sure to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, X, and Pinterest. That handle is Dustin's Dynasty. I'm on the web. That hand address is www.dustinsdynastyusa.com. Lastly, I'm on Linktree where you can find the links to all my socials and all my podcasting platforms. That address is that handle is Dustin's Dynasty. Again, I want to thank you for have taking care of yourself, being here with me, and stay safe, everyone. Have a good weekend. I know our friends in Canada are celebrating, and we'll be celebrating next week as a result because I want to get to the 350th vlog on my birthday in a couple weeks. We're going to take a break next week. So enjoy your holiday weekend. Take time for you. Practice self-care. You are loved. You matter. You are enough. And and the world is a better place because you are in it. That's something too that I've discovered is that, people and connections matter. So let's go and have a good weekend, everyone. Take care of yourselves, stay safe out there, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.